Everyone truly enjoyed their tea and coffee. All right, we will now commence our panel discussion on the theme, The Ethical Equation, Financial Reporting's Role in Modern Corporate Ethics. The session is being moderated by Mr. Sudipto Dey, Editor, Sustainability Outlook Business. I would like to take the moment and now welcome our fellow panel members, Mr. Ashish Pandey, General Counsel and Company Secretary, Luminous Power Technologies. I request you to please join us, sir. Yes, big round of applause. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, Mr. Vishal Kumar Lodha couldn't make it. CA Geetanshu Bansal, Director, SR Batliboi and COLLP, along with Dr. A. Venkatesan, General Manager, Law, Gail India Limited. Thank you very much. We look forward to the session.
Thank you, ASSOCHAM, for this, I think, very wonderful opportunity to discuss a sort of a, this is ethics, as we know, is all about human behavior. And when you say ethics and ESG, there's a new angle to it in terms of how do you sort of go about imputing ethics in ESG practices and ESG disclosures. I think we have a very interesting panel here, and they're all sort of practitioners. That's the best part of it. And let us make the best use of the panel and drive straight into the issue. If I could start with Mr. Pandey. Mr. Pandey, Luminous, the company that you represent, was an Indian company before being taken over by Schneider Electric. As a practitioner, did you find any difference in the compliance, ESG compliance, overall compliance from an Indian perspective versus a global perspective? What are the differences and what are the lessons that you picked up from there?
Thank you, Sudipto, and thank you, ASSOCHAM, for giving me this opportunity to participate in this particular program. My answer is yes. If you are an Indian promoter company and like a startup company, you are starting your business, you are always squeezed with your funds, and always you have your targets of top line and bottom line. And when big player is coming and acquiring your company, and they are coming not only from the strong financial backgrounds, but also they are coming from a strong ESG background. Like Luminous Power Technologies was an Indian promoter-driven company and subsequently taken by multinational conglomerate Schneider Electric. So Schneider Electric not came only with the financial power, but also it came with a lot of ESG knowledge of the European countries. And what ESG we are talking about today, I think 10 years before, it was very much prevalent in the European countries. So whatever the ESG guidelines, parameters, and processes were applicable or were being followed in the French companies, that very much got replicated into the Indian companies as well. So one of the important tasks with respect to ESG was how to integrate the ESG goals of Schneider Electric with Luminous Power. And I can say with a lot of authority that Luminous Power has been very much up to the task and quite receptive of the idea of implementing the ESG compliance in Luminous Power. So in that regard, not only in terms of the what contribution company is doing to the environment, society, and as well as in the overall governance, but also in terms of how ethically the company is being driven, I can say that a lot of change happened when it was a Indian promoter-driven company and when it became a fully owned multinational company. See, objective is not here to highlight that there was some intentional issue with the Indian promoter, not at all. I mean, any entrepreneur who is starting the business, as I mentioned, there are shortage of funds, there are shortage of resources, they are always driving for the top line and bottom line. But yes, once you have financial power as well as the governance power, and also you have the knowledge, then you can always leverage those knowledge and finances in your acquired company and make the acquired company equivalent to what it is, a multinational company based out of France.
Thank you. Mr. Venkatesan, coming to you, you come from the oil and gas sector, and there's a lot of investor scrutiny of ESG parameters in the oil and gas sector. As a company, how are you dealing with that?
Good afternoon. At the outset, first I thank ASSOCHAM for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this panel discussion. Before coming to your point, actually, you know very well, India is marching towards a gas-based economy, and Gail is the leader in that. So if you see the report of International Energy Agency of USA, which says that out of 1/4 of the total energy need of the entire world from now and 2040 will be contributed by one country. Can anybody tell? It is India. So this International Energy Agency report says that the happening place for 1/4 of the entire world energy need will come from India. So India is marching towards that. It's the happening place. Mm-hmm. So in this scenario, the role of Gail is very paramount, and we are wanted to ensure that the entire ESG is being followed in letter and spirit. Mm-hmm. In fact, most of our operations, that we are laying gas pipeline. Transmission is our main business.
Absolutely.
So transmission pipelines are automated actually. Mm-hmm. Along with the pipelines, we are having optical fiber cable, and we are having regional gas management centers, and we are also having a SCADA satellite, supervisory mm-hmm. control for data acquisition satellite. Wherever there is any leakage in the pipeline, it is being identified by that satellite, and it gives the real-time information to our control room. We have regional gas management centers in various places, including one regional gas management center of our Noida unit, wherever there is a gas leakage, the pipeline will misbehave, and that will give an indication to our. So that is how the entire transmission of pipeline is being automated, okay. And we are having a real-time data. And moreover, wherever we come across any sort of an investor complaint or anything, we immediately attend to this. In fact, we have made it as a standard operating procedure that every zonal office should hold a investor meet. Means okay. Our stakeholders meet every mm-hmm. month, and they have to send a report. So that is how our entire ESG is a real-time basis. It is being done. Okay. So see, if you see the genesis of how Gail is pioneer in this, mm-hmm. The Supreme Court has mandated in MC Mehta versus Union of India case, mm-hmm. where Delhi is polluting, the pollution is very alarming. The same way, Agra, Firozabad region, where color of the Taj Mahal is getting faded. Yeah. All these things, when they came across, when these social activists brought this to the knowledge of the court, mm-hmm. then there was a mandate to us. Mm-hmm. Even when we said to the court that it is very difficult for us to supply gas, because they said that more than 200 industries in and around Taj Mahal, they are using coal, which is very polluting. Exactly. And that has to be changed. So it is a need of the hour that Gail has to come to the rescue, and they have to supply green energy. Mm-hmm. So when we told the court that we don't have indigenous gas, then the court said, you import the gas. So that is how, if you see the entire genesis, Gail is playing a predominant role wherever the environmental issues are there. So here also, when we are marching towards gas-based economy, the growing concern is how you will deal with the environmental problem when so much of gas flow will be there in India. So to tackling this problem, it has to go hand in hand. This is how we are dealing.
Interesting. So you're saying that you're doing real-time monitoring of
Real-time monitoring we are having.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In fact, if we have to set up some processing unit, then we go for environmental impact assessment. We give stakeholders all opportunities to ensure that before going for any type of execution of the project, we are being prompted, and accordingly we take action.
Interesting. Geetanshu ji, in terms of it was referred about the investor. We heard about the investor complaints and also about the investor scrutiny. When you talk to some of the CFOs in different companies, chief sustainability officers, CSOs in the different companies, a lot of them say that a lot of the time now goes into investor meets. They sort of have to spend a lot of time in investor meets to sort of satisfy the investors. Tell us, like from your experience, do you find that the depth of sustainability disclosures that currently is available in India, and what is the influence they have on the key financial indicators? I'm going to say, in terms of what is the sort of, how relevant currently is robustness of the current sustainability parameters and the data that we're seeing?
Let me answer this plainly. If I go to the, about the debt, there is really a link of the debt, but only when the debt means the useful and it should be the credible thing, and it actually moves the cash flows.
Okay.
It's not like the extra alone pages of your ESG reports. It can't work. It can't alone lit up or just lift your return on assets or equity. So here the easy way to think about it is, first let's talk about what really matters. So if we see, if you're a manufacturer, then for you, what it's there? That's the energy consumption per unit, water per unit, or your workers' safety, or if you're a bank, then it's about the data security and about the credit, how much credibility of it's there, and about the customer's outcome. So if I see, so when you improve all these things, then in that case, what will happen that they will improve the things which will drive the cost, growth, or risk. It will automatically improve your return on assets and equity. So secondly, we should keep the things comparable. And it should be not like that 1 year it's renewable means something else and another it means something else. So we should keep the definitions also consistent year by year.
Okay.
Earlier also, if we see in the earlier session, it was a major concern that how the companies are comparing the data. So that's a main thing one should consider while seeing all these things. So in depth, everything should be the comparable. And of course, that's the spirit of the BRSR also. If I go to the sustainability standards also, they also ask you to see the financial impact over your anticipated profits, balance sheets, cash flows, profit and loss. So here everything you have to see in the depth. That's the main thing if I would like to highlight here.
So data integrity is important.
Yes.
Whatever is getting into the financial statement.
Yes.
That is very
really important.
Interesting. Ashish ji, coming to you, what is your assessment of the current level of ethical scrutiny of the financial numbers? You can be as honest and forthright as possible.
Thank you, Sudipto. Although our finance minister as well as prime minister, they always speak about ease of doing business. but I don't know what does it mean ease of doing business. Every day there is one regulation or another regulation, and the scrutiny is getting tightened. So as far as the existence of rules and regulations are concerned with respect to audit, scrutiny of the integrity of financials and non-financial parameters of any corporate, I would say yes, they do exist. And they are getting tougher in practice as well. We might have seen recently that the National Financial Reporting Authority, they have been conducting inspections and enforcements on various chartered accountants individuals as well as practitioners, and also the SEBI as well as the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. They are prescribing now CEO, CFO certifications for each and every parameter and the numbers what is being reported to the stakeholders. So in that regard, that I would like to extend this discussion that ESG, if you see, is now for the listed company being monitored and governed by the BRSR. I mean, many of the panelists has spoken about the BRSR. As far as assessment is concerned, I can say that it is getting sharper because NFRA is now getting tightened. There is a management accountability about the CEO, CFO certification, Regulation 17/8 of the LODR guidelines, which raises the bar on internal control, risk assessment, as well as it provides a clear mandate and lever to the boards that they can seek not only for the numbers, they can also seek the evidences how these numbers are being arrived at and what kind of assurances the management is providing to the board. And as mentioned about the BRSR, it is getting now becoming more prominent, and the disclosures are getting tightened. So NFRA is focusing on the audit quality, and also there is a control maturity with respect to large cap and the mid cap and small cap companies, I would say. Because in the large cap companies, there is a proper governance system, there is a financial willingness to invest into the people. But as far as a small cap and mid cap companies are concerned, or our MSMEs are concerned, I think it is a journey which will take maybe 5 to 10 years to reach up to a reasonable level. And the second part, I would like to say that there are many more guidelines and framework available to scrutiny the financial and non-financial numbers. And in India, I mean, SEBI is there to provide the guidelines, MCA is providing. We have COSO, we all know, COSO Internal Control and Integrated Framework 2013, which is primarily focusing on the risk assessment and the control environment. Then there is a code of ethics for the auditors, both on the global level as well as on the India level. Our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is also providing the code of ethics where the chartered accountants have to work within certain guidelines and principles. Then we have ISA 240, which is again a kind of getting more and more deeper for taking out if there is any fraud or ethical issues or concern in any financial reporting, etc. And board is expecting the auditors to complete those assessments and audit and provide the robust responses as well as clearer reporting. Likewise, there are many other framework. IFRS is there, we all know. I mean, Chartered Accountant Community and the Finance Committee, they know it. ISSB is there for our global sustainability disclosures baseline, which aligns with BRSR. And then there is a regulatory inspection discipline like Public Companies Accounting Oversight Board in USA, which if you see their report recently that the deficiency rates of the big four, these auditing firms, have reduced significantly. So in that regard, I would say that yes, ethical scrutiny now is becoming the norm day by day. And also there are the governance framework, adequate regulations in place, which provide teeth not only to the board of directors, but also as well as the regulators to go deeper into the transaction, to go deeper into the reporting numbers and find out the evidences and ensure that the numbers are both numbers are true and fair. And that is what, as a professional, we have been studying right from when we started our career, that the books of accounts are giving the true and fair view or not. So in order to ensure true and fair view, ethical scrutiny of both financial numbers as well as non-financial parameters are necessary. And there are the regulations, guidelines and framework which provide adequate infrastructure as well as a kind of forces to the a kind of force to the corporates and the organizations that they can go deeper and ensure that the numbers are correct, both ethically as well as financially.
Ashish ji, I'm tempted to ask you this. Now, this Ministry of, this Standing Committee on, Parliamentary Standing Committee, which suggested that there should be a ESG oversight body within the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. You think is that a right step to take? Another oversight body for ESG?
See, my experience is that as far as a ESG is concerned, it is not that we need another body, because if you are setting up of your plant at a particular land and that land is falling in a village, even the Gram Panchayat is also scrutinizing your ESG, कि तुम कितना पानी हमारे ड्रेनेज में डाल रहे हो, कितना पानी का यूटिलाइजेशन कर रहे हो, etc. And how many people you are taking locally and creating employment for the local people, and how ethical you are in terms of your operations. So see, every institution, right from Gram Panchayat to ministry, is watching the corporates from ESG point of view. And I can say that corporates, whether Indian corporates or multinational corporates, they are becoming cognizant about the fact that there is no option but to abide by the ESG norms, adopt the ESG norms, and not only just for the compliance, but also for the purpose of leaving a better world for our next generation. As far as your question is concerned, one more authority to overseeing the ESG compliance, I mean, we can have a number of authorities, not a problem, but the question is, the existing authorities, are they governing the ESG compliance? Are they monitoring in a right spirit and right governance so that they are effective? So my take would be that make the existing bodies more effective instead of having one more body to oversee your ESG compliance.
Very well put, yeah.
I also wanted to add a
Please,
point that see, creation of a new body will not in any way resolve the issue.
Okay.
It is the mindset of the organization, and they should come out with a solution for these things. So, like oil and gas sector, we have a regulator. We are sending lot of reports. So, compliances are there. LODR compliant and even the PNGRB compliances are there. So, if this is effective, then that will give a value addition rather than creating a new body for this.
Yeah, so I would like to give you one more example. So suppose if you are setting up a plant, you need to have your consent to establish and consent to operate, where they are checking all your parameters, ETP, STP, how you will use your water, how you will ensure your drainage, etc. Now there are new laws are coming with respect to circular economy and to ensure that the rare earth materials are extracted. For example, for my company, 3 specific laws have come: battery waste management rules, e-waste management rules, and plastic waste management rules. I mean, what is happening if you see rare earth material, if I talk about the lead which is used in battery, it is 99% recyclable, right? And it is recycled and reused. So irrespective of the fact whether there is new law or there is not new law, it would be recycled because there is a commercial involvement to it. And in the value chain, whoever are the stakeholders, they will get benefited.
Exactly.
Whereas in case of plastic waste management rules, the commercials are involved, but it is primarily tilted to the recyclers. And that is why you will find a lot of cases being reported about the false credit generation, etc., in case of plastic waste management rules. But in case of battery waste management rules, since commercial is there, so it is coming out and it is happening like a natural business for all the stakeholders. So, I mean, setting up new law, new authority will not help. Rather, creating more awareness, making the people more responsible, and making them aware that what could be the long-term implication of these non-compliances which are related to ESG, how it is going to affect the future and how it is going to affect the environment and health and safety of the generations to come. I think that is the key message. And if people like us, we get that message and we start doing the little bit of work from home, like for RO water, whatever RO we are using, if we can save that RO water, the wastage of the water, and you can utilize it for a plantation, etc., that is itself a start. Are we still using this single-use plastic? Can we stop that? So my say is that ESG in short stands for spirit of the God. If you follow the spirit of the God and it brings the benefit for all the stakeholders, your society, the government, the employees, the general public, etc., then you are the winner.
So we can say ESG begins at home. Like if you're able to recycle your own stuff.
Yes, yes. ESG, it begins at home. If you are ESG compliant at home, the same thing will percolate to your day-to-day working in your professional life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, of course. Mr. Venkatesan, like, from an environment perspective, I was just going through your ESG latest ratings, and I think what are the steps you are taking to, say, improve the environment score of ESG from Gail perspective?
Gail, in addition to transporting the gas, we are also having a petrochemical plant at Oraya. What we are doing is that in order to arrest the discharge, we are setting up one plant that is called a zero liquid discharge plant at a cost of around 500 crores.
Okay.
So, like this, we always go in an innovative way to see that all latest technologies are being used to arrest any, even a slightest discharge of any of the liquid like that. So, in that way, all the pipelines are being secured. Absolutely, we don't give any scope for any explosion or anything. We are following a pipeline cleaning procedure that is called a pigging operation. It's almost like a robotic system of pigging operation where we are following a guideline called AMSME guideline, that is American Standard for Mechanical Engineers Guidelines. So, which clearly gives, wherever we are laying pipeline, first of all, if there is some human agglomeration, then accordingly the size of the pipeline, thickness of the pipeline has to be changed. Normally, it's a cross-country pipeline where it passes through the villages. And at times it has to pass through some human habitation also. There we are taking utmost care. So these are some of the efforts. Even stringing of pipeline is being done by Russian welders. It's like a human body, how we are conducting X-ray for our health. The similar way pipelines are being scanned through a X-ray mechanism, through advanced technology, through various country welders. So this is how our entire pipeline system is foolproof to ensure that there is no scope for any leakage. This is how we are in fact various steps we are taking. In fact, wherever there is scope for flaring of gas, like there are occasions where sometimes if our pipeline takes some shutdown, which warrants flaring the gas like that, we always take a remedial measure how to mitigate the pollution level when there is a flaring of gas like that. So all stringent efforts are being taken to ensure that we always know our ESG score is more. Because when we call for any negotiation with a foreign party, recently the trend is that first, before going into the technical aspects of negotiation, first they ask, what is your ESG rate? What are the efforts you are being? You show us the different efforts being taken. This is how awareness is being created.
Absolutely.
In fact, we have also gone ahead with Ava Badlo campaign.
Okay.
Where we are going to nook and corner of the villages to educate the people how the pollution level has to come down. Like it's a brand image for Gail. This is how we are doing it. In fact, with our joint venture companies, we have IGL, Indraprastha Gas, where we are catering to the transport, local transport, where they had to switch over from polluting diesel to gas like that. Even the PNG, piped natural gas to houses. In fact, there are a lot of scope for this. If you see, our population is 140 crores.
Absolutely.
But we have given connection for less than 1 crore population only. If you see in a house, there are 4 people.
Yeah.
You can consider this as a family. So 140 crores ko, at least 34 crores households are there.
Yes.
But we have given connection only to 1 crore, less than 1 crore. There are a lot of potential. So Gail is now aiming towards that. These are some of the things we are explaining to our investors also.
Okay.
So that is how we are managing.
Interesting. Talking about investors, taking a cue from, earlier in the earlier session also we found there was a disconnect between what companies are disclosing on the ESG thing, and there's a disconnect between the investors and what companies are reporting. What would you suggest, as a chartered accountant and a person who's been dealing with this, would you suggest any steps to improve or bridge the gap between the investors and what the companies are disclosing, so that, the capital markets are better able to appreciate what the companies are doing on ESG?
So here, Sudipto, so first thing is build the ESG numbers, market-ready ESG numbers. They should be comparable, they should be machine-readable, and they should be assured.
Okay.
As you see, BRSR now it goes for the assessment as well as assurance. So the numbers should have all the 3 categories, and they should show the financial effects. If I see the investors don't need the bigger reports, they just need the answer to one question: what does these numbers means for my cash flows, for my valuations, for my risk? Okay. So that one gap we need to close. Okay. As earlier also I mentioned that the comparability to the design should be there. So that's what, if we see how we report the revenue. So if we see the revenue, everyone uses the same definition. That's why we can compare the different results there also. So the ESG also needs the same decision. As Dr. Haldia also mentioned that there is a lot of need of the material data which is to be comparable. So here pick a few material KPI which are relevant for the industries.
Okay.
And like the energy used for the cement industry, or if we take the beverage industry, so what is their this water intensity? So all those ratios which are material for that industry, one should look into. And if you change the method, clearly say that there is a break in series. Secondly, structure the data. If we see the data, if it is structured, then only can the analyst can put it into the model.
Okay.
And it's not like that the ESG right now, if you see, it lives into the glossy PDFs. It should be in the spreadsheets, or it should be in proper templates or tags which can be easily tagged by anyone. Okay. So one has to take care of that. It's only then one can use the data which is investor friendly. So we have to have the systematic regulations. Of course, the BRSR is doing that. And if I see yesterday also, the Sustainability Standards Board have issued the guidance for the how to see the impact of the sustainability, climate changes on the financial effect. But so we have to look in the guidance, and in India also this kind of development the regulators should work on to bring in through that. Of course, the SABI is working a lot in this direction.
Interesting. Ashish ji, coming to you, in terms of, if you are to give one advice to Indian companies, in terms of how they should, which is a must-do sort of advice in terms of how they should tackle this issue of ethical scrutiny of their financial numbers, what would that advice be?
See, as I mentioned, there is regulation, there is framework. Only the piece, what is missing to certain extent is the intent. So in the previous session, CFO of Schneider Electric Infrastructure, Suparna Bhattacharya was present, and she mentioned that tone at the top.
Exactly.
So that is something inevitable. And it is important that the ESG performance is not only a tick in the box. ESG performance must be tagged to the individual KRAs of the CXO team, of the management. There should be a direct reporting structure right from what is being implemented till what is reported to the board. So there could be a proper ESG committee, and many companies are now having ESG committee as well as ESG officers. And also our second line and third line of defense, for example, internal audit, CFO certification, CFO classification of the materials, etc., they have to be structurized in such a way so that the ESG is part and parcel of the entire business strategy. And if it is linked to the business strategy, and if you drive your top line and bottom line, ESG compliance would be driven automatically. Why I am saying so? Because, see, in the world, there are so many things happening and so many things have already happened. For example, I would like to quote here that one mid-sized IT firm, it was in such a pressure that it always overstated its revenue recognition. And what happened subsequently, because the employees, particularly the CFOs and other team, they could not challenge the CEO. So month on month, year on year, this revenue got inflated. And when the audit happened, they found that some of the contracts, which were received contracts, but actually the execution of those contracts were not done, still the revenue recognition was done in the books of accounts. What happened? Because of that, the company collapsed and it had to reverse all the revenue recognitions of the past. So my message is that intent is more important. Then you have a structure in place, and then you monitor the performance of that structure, and you tag the ESG goal as one of the goal, at least for the top management team.
Interesting. From a Gail perspective, would you say that the governance part of ESG, I believe Gail has scored pretty highly on the governance part when I was going through your ESG reports. What is it that, as Ashish ji said, that in the tone at the top, you think is that what's working for Gail also? That there's a management push from the top that ESG is important for us?
In fact, our financial performance always takes a second seat. In fact, we consider ESG implementation not as a ritual or as a mandate, only because a mandate is coming.
Okay.
What we perceive is that ESG is a tool to guide for a future commercial strategic point. whereby no, it's a sort of a guidance for the business strategy. This is how we view it. So this is how my management is also having a view.
Okay.
So it is not something you are spending for some. You are ensuring that because you have a long way to go, because the gas pipeline has to go to the nook and corner of every village from Kashmir to Kanyakumari.
Also from 1 crore to you have to go to 34 crores.
Yeah, right, like that. So we have a long way. So here our image that matters a lot. So investing in ESG and all these things should be looked upon as a sort of a, not as a, it's a necessity actually. We have to do it. That is how my organization is perceiving this.
Fine. Geetanshu, one finer point which was perhaps missed when we talked about the recommendation of the, the Standing Committee of Finance was that one recommendation is that in the Companies Act, the fiduciary, the duties of the director's fiduciary duties, they want to include ESG parameters as one of the criteria for the in the director's fiduciary duties. It's a recommendation. It may happen, may not happen. What's your take as a person who's dealt with boards, a person who has dealt with numbers, the fact that if the board of directors, it's part of the duty of the board of directors, fiduciary duty, to have ESG as, as a mandate, do you think that will make a difference?
Yeah, of course it will make a difference because it's the directors only who governs the company or who take the major decisions. So I do believe it should be, it's a good recommendation if it's implemented. It will, of course, in the ESG scenario, it will make it stronger. And the companies, although they are taking seriously, but I wouldn't say that fully it's like this right now. But if it happens, then of course they would, if it becomes a mandatory, then they have no other option. They have to go by that. Because that will not only, that's something which is voluntary. Mandatorily they have to follow and then they have to
So it's a good messaging in terms of amplifying the importance of ESG for the organization, for the...
It is very, yeah.
Great. If we have time for questions, do we have time for questions from the audience? Okay. One question or... Okay. Maybe we can take 1 or 2 questions at best. We are running out short of time.
Yeah, hi. I'm Inji Shankar. My very short question is, the SEBI, we've been talking about LODR in the morning. The SEBI actually relates only to 5,200 companies. But under Companies Act, we have far more, probably more than 1 million. How do you expect ESG to be implemented as a culture across all sectors, all companies in India, so that we can be the leaders in the world?
Okay, I'll try to answer this. See, ESG compliance is still evolving, right? And if I talk about ESG in India, first time it started in 2009 when there was certain voluntary guidelines on the CSR. Then slowly it improved. It was made mandatory for the companies having certain turnover and the percentage of profit. See, one thing is very clear, that those companies who have the financial capability to do the ESG compliance, they will do, irrespective of the fact whether they are listed, they are not listed. I absolutely agree for the MSME sector and those stressed sectors where there is a financial pressure, business pressure. I mean, not only on the ESG compliance, for any compliance, they would try to avoid them. So this is a evolution, and once the economy grows and there is enough circulation of finances among the low-sized, mid-sized and MSME sectors, they will also move towards the better compliance of ESG. I fully agree that 5,200 companies, even in those also, I would say only top 10% would be keen to fully perform the ESG compliances, but rest 90% they would try to just do tick in the box and meet out the compliance requirement. It is a journey, it will take maybe another 10 years, and it will purely depend how the economy is growing, how much the companies are becoming stronger, both financially as well as on other parameters. Only then they will think more and more for meeting out the compliance requirements of the ESG. And also there is a dearth of manpower resources. It is not that everyone is ESG expert. So for companies who can afford experts, they would be better compliant. But companies who cannot afford experts, they cannot dedicate money, time, energy, obviously they would not be that much compliant. So it is a journey, it will take another 10 years. After that, we can assess where we are, specifically for the mid-sized, small-sized, and MSME sector companies.
The chartered accountant should be educated on that first, because they are the chartered accountants who are guiding a body to the companies. They should be more educated, more familiar to the subject, and they should guide better to the companies to go for this ESG. Point number 2 is the financing, subsidies, incentives must be introduced, because the traditional business operators, they can't. Like he said, the 5,000 listed companies have to follow the SEBI rules. What about the other companies? There are lakhs of companies. The question is the financing subsidy. The traditional.
Finance.
वो बोलता है मेरे को क्या फायदा क्या होगा इस चीज का?
Absolutely. I agree with you. As far as your comment on
कोई low rate of interest मिले, कोई body certification अगर मेरे को मिलता है, ESG certificate मिलता है, what is the use of that? मैं frame लगा के ऑफिस में लगा दूं उसको. उसको कोई incentive तो मिले, low rate of interest तो मिले, कुछ subsidy तो मिले, भाई, you are the best. That is my
No, I fully agree with you. So that is why if you see some of the products who are meeting out, the companies who are meeting out the ESG compliance, they are using the term green product, right? So they are getting some kind of premium pricing on the product is concerned. As far as your comment on the chartered accountants are concerned, I don't know whether it is there a mandatory reporting under the auditor's report that the chartered accountants or the auditor have to report the ESG performance or not. So that could be one of the idea that include where the company is in terms of the ESG performance in the auditor's report, and maybe that could be the one area. But as I mentioned, depending upon what is the strength and the financial power, etc., with the companies, the ESG compliance will evolve. That is the reason that if you see the ESG assurances, they are being prescribed in a phased manner, right? 1,000 companies, then 1,500 companies, then 2,000 companies. It is going from the size of the companies, because the government also knows that only those large and big companies, only they can afford at this point of time. And depending upon how the future unfolds, then the smaller companies can also come into the pictures. And then the auditors and the chartered accountants. Auditors and chartered accountants, they can do, kind of awareness for their clients at this point of time. But they cannot mandate their clients that you go and do the ESG compliance.
In my personal view, they are the game changers. The chartered accountants, they can guide, they can educate. Yes, you do it.
Yeah. From guidance, from education point of view, I agree. Not only the chartered accountants, everyone in the corporate fraternity, be it lawyers, the company secretaries, and the cost and management accountants, and also the MBAs, everyone is responsible to spread that awareness about the ESG compliance.
Right. We are totally run out of time. Thank you for the panelists for this interactive session, and we look forward to having more such interactions. Thank you.